Good morning, everybody. Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to Bricktober. Welcome to Sunday Show and Tell. Before we get started on the episode, there's a few things I wanted to say. First and foremost, during my video, well, actually at the beginning of my video for Walmart Collector Con Day 1, I had asked you, my viewers, my audience, if you could please leave likes on the video, because the current theory right now is that YouTube has changed the way that they're counting interaction with the new AI that they're using, because a lot of channels, large and small, have seen a dramatic decrease in their viewership, in the views on their video. That has been happening to me as well, and I asked you guys if you could leave likes on the video to help out, because viewership, viewing the video, doesn't seem to count as interaction anymore. It's more about leaving likes and leaving comments. Y'all really helped out. There were more likes being left on the last two videos, and those videos have gotten more circulation, have gotten more views, and I greatly appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate whenever you guys help out any way you can, and I would ask if you could continue that trend. Leave a like on this video so that I can get it out there, get it seen. Thank you very much to everybody. Now, having said that, on episode 2 of the Walmart Collector Con, the audio was kind of bad. And that actually got more views than day 1 and more likes than day 1, which I greatly admit, but I also acknowledge that the audio was kind of bad on that one. And I think what happened was, with the audio settings I have for my system here, or my setup here, that when I clipped my mic on, I clipped it onto the hood of the hoodie that I was wearing, and that put it closer to my mouth, and I think it was a louder pickup than what it normally was. So I do want to apologize for that. So sorry, but thank you nonetheless. Now, we have a lot to go over, because there was some stuff that was revealed at New York Comic Con. We, of course, had Walmart Collector Con, and there are just some other things that are floating out there in the ether that I wanted to talk about. We're not going to be going over everything from Comic-Con, from New York Comic-Con. We are not going to be revisiting much, if any, of the stuff from Walmart Collector Con. Mainly because at this point, I feel like everybody has talked about New York Comic-Con. There are some other things that came out this past week that I was excited about, that I want to talk about, that I feel like haven't gotten any traction, and we'll talk about those. We'll touch on the Comic-Con stuff, of course, when we get to the Hasbro section. But for right now, let's start out like we always do with our crowdfunders, and we're going to start with the Jazz Inc.'s 1/12 scale Batwing. Multiple tiers for this one. It has 43 days left to go. It's kind of a slow start. I don't know how well this is going to do, because currently it's sitting at time of recording 720 backers of the 3,000 needed. Now, granted, like I said, there are 43 days left to go. I don't know what the, I don't know how much in demand this Batwing is. I also don't know if Jazz Inc. is promoting it as much as they should, because other than me and displaying model behavior, I haven't seen anybody talking about this thing. So it may also just be that it's pretty pricey at this time of year. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, there may be some people that are just waiting for 2026 to roll around to see what Mattel is going to be coming out with. Because truthfully, that's one of the things that's holding me back. Because there are payment plans available on this. You don't have to pay it off all at once. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Mattel, waiting to see what scale their figures are going to be in. So that may be playing into this as well. I don't know. I could be wrong. It looks good. It really does. But it's kind of an expensive piece, and there have been a lot of expensive pieces coming out lately. The next one that we're going to be talking about is the new HasLab that I'm sure a lot of you have seen, Tron Heroes of the Grid. 5 3 3/4 scale figures that are basically the same. It looks like the same design and articulation scheme as like Star Wars Vintage Series. As a matter of fact, during the Star Wars fan stream is when they released the details on this. So I kind of get the impression that the Black Series team is the one that's, or the Star Wars team is the one that's working on this. So you got 5 3 3/4 figures that include Tron, Flynn, Yori, Sark, and just Program, because you need somebody to put into the light cycle. And of the light cycles, you get 2 of them, a blue one and a yellow one. And then you get a display stand that can plug in, what is it, via USB-C power cable. The power cable does not come with the set. And when you plug it in and you light it up, only the grid work on the bottom lights up. That backdrop is just, it looks like it's just clear plastic. It doesn't illuminate, just the grid lights up. And I know the sticking point on this, for a lot of people, is $259.99, $260, plus $30 for any non-premium member, because I think it's $30 or $35 is going to be the shipping cost on this. I still stand by HasLabs should have free shipping. I will die on that hill. But right now, it would be $30 for shipping. $260 for 5 3 3/4 figures, 2 light cycles, and a light-up display stand. If you do the math for those 5 figures at the current Vintage Series price point, and I understand these are new sculpts, but a lot of the Vintage Series figures are new sculpts as well. Each one comes out new sculpt, individual piece. So I don't really feel like you could use that as an excuse, because there's also a lot of part sharing with these figures. If you it comes out to like $80 for the figure. So that's $260. $80 of that is the figures right there. So that's what? That's $180 for 2 light cycles and a light-up display stand. I very rarely talk smack on HasLabs or the price, because the price is what it is, and everybody has to decide on their own if it's worth it or not. But this is crazy. I think Hasbro, and maybe Disney as well, is greatly overestimating the interest in Tron. I like Tron, don't get me wrong. I liked the first movie. I liked the second movie. Legacy was actually the line that I was looking forward to coming out. And I'm not spending $260 on this. To call Tron a franchise, it's 2 movies and a cartoon so far, and some video games. Tron 2.0 is actually a really cool game. But the spacing between everything, between all of the movies, between the video games, before the animated movie, I don't think this has a truly dedicated fan base the size of something like Star Wars or Marvel or DC. Right now, and it's a few days old at this point, it's what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday night. So we'll say roughly 2.5 days. No, 2 days. 2 days into it, it's sitting at, what, 810 backers of the 10,000 needed. It's a very slow start. And we've seen slow starts reach funding before. I'm going to be very curious and quite honestly very surprised if this hits its funding mark. There's also no stretch goals. Everything you see right here is what you get, which I think is a mistake. I think they could have come out with some stretch goals. I think they could have come out with some tiers, or they just consider themselves lucky if it's going to get to this. Because the one thing that I think is missing from this are the red guards. You know, the dudes with like the big Maximilian type headpieces and the shoulder pads and the power stabs and everything. Like, I feel like that could have been a stretch goal. Maybe a 2-pack of guards right there could have been a stretch goal. I feel like, I don't know how they would have done it. Maybe like a big lenticular display of the CPU, the Master Control, MCP, Master Control Program, yeah. Where it's like maybe a display with a lenticular thing so that like it can spin. I don't know. Like, there could have been some tiers for this to like raise interest a little bit, and maybe if you get to these tiers, would have more justified the price, because I'm really having a hard time justifying the price. Usually I can justify the price of these HasLabs in my head by doing some quick math. But at $80 for the figures, and so that's like $180 for the light cycles, which honestly, if you look at the way the light cycles are constructed, it's just cheap plastic that you snap together. Like, it doesn't open up and you put the figure inside, you take it apart, you pose the figure in there, and then you put it together. And I get it that the light cycles, that's how they formed in the first movie around the user, around the program. That's cool, I get that. But for a toy at that price, you're going to want something a little more, because honestly, those light cycles are like maybe 20 bucks a piece in my head. So then you take that, so 80 plus 20, that's $100 right there. So you're telling me that the light up LED display stand with no cable is $160. I don't know. I personally don't think this is worth it. Now, having said that, after I just talked so much smack on it, if you want it, if there are people that are backing it, if you're one of the 800 that are backing it, 810 that are backing it right now, as always, I do hope you get it. I really do. I hope everybody has a chance to get what they want. I'm just going to be very surprised if this reaches the goal. Moving on from HasLab, on to something a little bit that I'm a little bit more excited about. And this next one, I'm just going to talk about today. We're not going to do our weekly check-ins on it, because this is more for me than anything, and maybe people who are into gothic horror and graphic novels. On Kickstarter, we have the Wraith Marked Classics Bram Stoker's Dracula Illustrated Deluxe Edition. This is basically the original Bram Stoker's Dracula, not as a graphic novel, but with like black and white gothic art illustrations inside. That's very cool to me. This company has done Kickstarters for other classic pieces like this, things that are in the public domain, that they have an option to do them without having to pay IP rights, basically. As a matter of fact, one of the packages, one of the tiers for this is the hardback illustrated Bram Stoker's Dracula Deluxe Edition with the illustrated deluxe edition of War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds actually being the first proper novel that I ever actually read when I was 8 years old. So that is very much right up my alley. It is a hardback, comes with a dust jacket. It has beautiful artwork inside, and more to the point, this has a pay in 3 options. So if you back it and it gets funded, which it is funded already, by the way, it's reached its goal, it's going to print. But when this is over, and I forgot to write the days down, but I believe there's like 23 days left to back this. But when it's successful and it comes time to take payment, you can opt for the pay in 3. That they'll take the first payment out on October 31st. On November 31st. They'll take the next payment out on December 31st, and then January 31st. Or, you know what? Give me a minute. Let me look this up, because I am just tanking this right now. So yes, I was wrong on how much longer there is. There's only 19 days left, because of course this ends on Halloween Day. So once the Kickstarter is over and they take payment, they'll take a third of it on October 31st, then they'll take a third of it on November 31st, and then they'll take the final third on December 31st. If this option is available through Kickstarter, I wish more Kickstarters would use this option. As always, there will be links to everything in the description below. Like I said, I'm only going to talk about this week. This isn't one that I'm going to keep hoisting upon you and watching week after week. Now we have some timed pre-orders, and before it was just Mondo we were watching, really, but now there is more. Oh yes, there is more. Starting with Mondo, of course, we have the Real Ghostbusters, Ray and Mr. Gash. The deadline for that is 10/30, so that is coming up very quickly. And also we have our Masters of the Universe 2000X He-Man, what I'm calling the deluxe version, and Clawful, that deadline is 10/17. So that is coming up this week. The deadline for that will be Friday. After that, the only one that will be available is the standard version of He-Man. That will still be available for pre-order, and I think that's available at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. But these two versions will be done this coming Friday. So if you have any interest in them at all, the deadline is coming. Now, Four Horsemen have some Halloween-based timed pre-orders to look at. We have our blind box graveyard skeletons, and it is just what it sounds like. You order some of these, you get a blind box, you get a skeleton inside, and it looks like the skeletons are all different colors. I don't know if there's any accessories. I know they've done this before, but this could be fun. For those of you that like blind boxes, these are only $20 a box, which for a 1/12 skeleton figure isn't bad. I'm not sure if I'm down with all of the different colors for that. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting any of these. Maybe I'll order one or two. Pre-orders for these are, of course, done at Halloween night, October 31st, 11:59 p.m., midnight, because of course they are. So that's the only thing that's a bummer. If you order it now, they won't be coming until after Halloween, but you'll have them for next Halloween, and you'll have them for a Conan display if you would want. The ones that I am actually more interested in are the graveyard zombies. We have the worker and the rocker zombie. It's probably easy to figure out which is which, but the guy is the worker, the girl is the rocker. They look pretty cool. I really like them. Zombies are always cool. I don't have any zombies. I dig that rocker though. Like, that just looks really cool. And both of them have soft good accessory upgrade kits, or not even upgrade kits, just a change of clothes, so that if you bought more than one zombie, you could swap clothes out on them, maybe give them a different look, maybe give them something more colorful, lets you have more zombies in different clothing rather than just like the same two zombies in the same two sets of clothes. Now, each zombie figure is $42 each. On Store Horsemen, they are $54.99 on Big Bad Toy Store, but with Big Bad Toy Store, you don't pay up front. You pay when they arrive, because remember, at Store Horsemen, you pay when you pre-order. Each soft goods upgrade pack is $20 on Store Horsemen, $24.99 on Big Bad Toy Store. The deadline for these is also Halloween night, October 31st, 11:59 p.m., midnight. Now, the last one we're going to talk about, and I kind of teased this a little on my Walmart Collector Con Day 2 video, is Apocalypse. This guy looks cool. I have to admit, this guy looks cool. Apocalypse was always one of, if not my favorite, of the X-Men villains. I know I'm not alone on that. I mean, the Age of Apocalypse, the Four Horsemen, like, you can't have the X-Men without Apocalypse. And what I'm gathering is that all of the Marvel Legends collectors, for the most part, agree this is an awesome looking figure, but we're kind of split down the middle on whether or not we're going to get it, because while some people are like, this is really cool for the X-Men 97 line because that's what it's based off of, there are others that are saying, can we get it in comic colors, in those darker purples with a more comic accurate face, things like that. And I can understand that, especially for how much you're paying, because this is a $120 figure. Now here's the thing. It's a 12-inch tall figure with a lot of interchangeable parts, and I understand prices are going up. But there are people that are bulking a lot on the $120 price tag. I'll be honest, when I saw it was $120, I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest. It may just be because I'm used to buying 12-inch figures from like Hot Toys and 3-0 that are that or more. What are your thoughts on it? Quite honestly, the $120 didn't bother me. I'm not getting it. But the $120 didn't bother me nearly as much as it is bothering other people. And I'm curious as to why that is. Like, I think it's a great looking figure. I love all the interchangeable accessories. 12 inches tall with some decent articulation. My only sticking point is I wish it was taller. I honestly wish it was closer to like maybe 2 feet tall, like those Sentinels that are coming. Maybe making it as tall as the Sentinels. I know that would have raised the price, but I feel like that's more Apocalypse, but also maybe Apocalypse's bulk will make up for it, whereas the Sentinels are more slim. Now, the pre-order deadline is November 9th, and I'm saying that to you right now because the web page does not have the deadline. If you look at the website and the order page for Apocalypse, it just says pre-order now. It doesn't have the deadline. It looks like it's just going to be an open pre-order. Apocalypse is a made-to-order figure with a limited window. And the only reason I know that the limited window ends on November 9th is because that's what they said on the fan stream. So right now, if you look at the web page, there's no deadline, time of recording. They may add it in later. Hopefully they'll add it in later. But just so you know, Apocalypse orders are over on November 9th. And of course, I'll be reminding you every week until he's gone. Now we're going to talk about some new orders, and I may try and rapid fire through some of this stuff because we have a lot to talk about. Also, just on a side note, with all of the Hasbro, especially the G.I.Joe classified pre-orders that were supposed to be staggered out towards the end of the year, all of them dropping like this past week. I have so much stuff here and that is coming that shouldn't have been here until December. I honestly think I'm done with the pre-orders. I don't think I'm going to pre-order anything anymore because I didn't like this whole, hey, this is here, now this is here, now this is here, and just rapid firing everything all at once. The wallet took a big hit. Like, yeah, it was ridiculous. So I really think my pre-order habits are going to be relegated to things that either A, are limited time, or B, are things that I think are going to sell out quickly. I don't think I'm going to do what I've been doing where like just, hey, this figure's going up, now this figure's going up, now this figure's going up, and just pre-ordering figures across the board. I think I'm going to be a lot more stingy on things that I do because this past week and a half with Marvel or Hasbro just throwing everything out at once, that was ridiculous. Having said that, let's start off with Fans Hobby, because if you remember, they're the ones that didn't give me, but they're the ones that sold me my Tiger Force Air Eagle card and link. It's very cool. And we are going to be taking a look at the Uni-Thunder. This is definitely not the Fang from G.I.Joe Classified. This is pretty cool. I have to admit, this is pretty cool. The pilot's compartment, if you take a look at it, is based heavily off of the Air Eagle. It's just heavily modified. The front dash comes up a little bit higher. It looks like the back near like the headrest and everything may be designed a little bit differently. And also that canopy that comes up, you can pop the canopy off. So you can have an enclosed pilot's compartment or you can have an open air pilot seat. I think that's cool. I think that looks good. Options are always good. And truthfully, it looks a little clunky with the canopy on, I think. The design to me looks a little clunky. It looks good, but it's not quite what I go for, what I like. It has the undercarriage bomb and the skid-mounted missiles, and it uses the same clip-in system that the Air Eagle used. There's a lot of reuse. I shouldn't say a lot of reuse, but there is a heavy amount of reuse from the Air Eagle. Like I said, the pilot's compartment, the skids, but it works. It has that same aesthetic as the Air Eagle. It looks like the two of them exist in the same universe. I dig that. And also, it's a smaller company, so of course there's going to be a lot of reuse, but they definitely made it work. I like this. This is cool, but I'm very particular about the Fang. I really like the Fang, and I know that's a weird vehicle for people to be like, oh my god, the Fang was awesome, but I think I'm waiting for the classified Fang. It has to be coming. The Fang has to be coming. We've had the Flight Pod, we've had the Claw, the Fang has to be close. It has to be next. This is $98.90 on Fans Hobby website. It is $139.99 with a $14 non-refundable deposit on Big Bad Toy Store. So Fans Hobby is definitely the way to go. Of course, their shipping, though, can be a little higher because it's coming in from overseas. But I will leave links to both avenues for this in the show notes below. This looks cool. This would go great if you have the Air Eagle. Like I said, though, I think I'm waiting personally for the Fang. I wish I had the shelf space, the time, and the money to dedicate to Nacelle's Star Trek line, especially after I saw Wave 2 come out. They've just announced Wave 2. There are 10 figures in this wave versus the 8 from Wave 1. The price of $28.99 per figure is the same. The price did not go up on the figure, but you can see that you'll be able to see that the price on the figure bundle is higher than Wave 1. That's just because there's more figures in it. So the figure price is the same. $28.99 per figure, $282.99 for the entirety of Wave 2 bundle ordered through Nacelle's website. We're going to be taking a look at these guys, and we're going to be going in the order of my preference from least interested to most interested. So starting off with my least interested, we're looking at Commander Bem from Star Trek The Animated Series. Don't know anything about this guy. Can't tell you anything about this guy. He has 2 head sculpts. One that looks like it hovers above the shoulders sometimes, or that might just be a camera thing that they did. 2 sets of elongated arms, 2 communicators, 2 phasers, 4 sets of hands. It mentions a separate torso and legs that I guess you can pop the torso and legs apart. Like, I don't know this dude. Was he able to like disassemble himself? Was that his gimmick? Is that why you can do this? It also has a primitive cage wall for the diorama. One thing that I love about the Nacelle figures is that the Star Trek figures, is that most of them come with these diorama pieces, which takes us to my second one, Dr. Carol Marcus from Star Trek The Wrath of Khan. She comes with interchangeable arms and a field jacket, so you can have her 2 different looks. I think that's very cool. 4 sets of hands, a regular 1 communication terminal, and a Project Genesis cargo container. So like you can really start to build out, if you got Valeris from Wave 1, you can really start to get like a Project Genesis diorama going, which is cool. Up next we have Ensign Nog from Deep Space Nine. 2 head sculpts, 4 sets of hands, interchangeable lower leg with the tied off pant leg, so that when he loses his leg, you can have that look for him as well. 1 phaser, 1 phaser rifle, a tricorder, a Starfleet pad, a Rock the Geno mug, 1 bottle of root beer, a travel bag, a silver walking cane, which was his normal walking cane, the 1960s lion head walking cane, which that's a deep one, and a rag for polishing Cisco's desk, which when I read that immediately made me say, is Cisco going to have his desk when the Cisco figure comes out? I think that's a hint. I think that's a big ol' yes, because if he has his desk, he has to have the baseball on it. Because then if we have Cisco with his desk with the baseball on it, I really want then at some point, maybe Wave 4, we'll have Gul Dukat, so you can have that scene of Gul Dukat leaning on Cisco's desk and holding the baseball, and the other Cardassian is like, what does it mean? And Dukat says, he'll be back. I loved that moment in DS9. Oh, that was so good. I really wish I could afford to collect this line. The next one we have is Captain Catherine Janeway from the Year of Hell story arc, which the Year of Hell story was actually really good. I really liked it. I wish they would have gone with their original plan of making that a season-long story arc rather than just like, I think it was a 2-parter. It would have been awesome if that would have been the entire season, and then it just ends on the cliffhanger of her ramming Voyager, and then the next season, everything goes back and resets. That would have been so cool. So we have 2 interchangeable heads, 4 sets of hands, a tricorder, a phaser, and the USS Voyager captain's chair which is cool because we've had a couple of captains already, and I know the chair changes from starship to starship, from series to series, from movie to movie. But at this point, you at least have a captain's chair with numerous people that could sit in it, and I think that's pretty cool. Then we have T'Pol from Star Trek Enterprise. This is her season 3 costume. It's the light blue. I personally preferred like the bright orange one that she wears. I think it stands out more. I think the color looks better on her. I think it's just a better look for her. But it's basically this costume, just in a different color. So who knows? Maybe there will be some sort of exclusive, or they'll just do a color variant at some point, and we'll get that other version of T'Pol. She comes with... Oh, I would also love to see T'Pol in her TOS uniform when they went into the Mirror Universe, and all of the Enterprise crew had to wear, or didn't have to wear, but were wearing the TOS uniforms. Because Archer... I think we got Archer in his Mirror Universe uniform in Wave 1, didn't we? I can't remember, but I thought we did. She comes with 4 sets of hands, a Vulcan hand scanner, a phase pistol, communicator, a Starfleet pad, a Starfleet data module, a canister of Trillium D, 1 Vulcan IDIC pendant, and a Vulcan book. Now, stepping up into the more modern era of Star Trek, or not the modern era, but maybe the more familiar era of Star Trek, we have Lieutenant Valeris, should have been Savick, from Star Trek The Undiscovered Country. 2 interchangeable hands, or 2 interchangeable heads, 4 sets of hands, a communicator, a phaser, a gravity boot. Not a set of gravity boots, 1 gravity boot. Interesting choice there. A Vulcan goblet and mashed potatoes in the pot, so like, you know, when she phased the pot out of existence, the mashed potatoes will stay up. Those were some hearty mashed potatoes to hold their shape that long. That's all I'm saying. And that's all she comes with. She doesn't really come with a diorama piece, unfortunately. Now we get into the ones, these are like my top tier ones, the next ones we're going to be talking about. These are the ones that, like, especially these next 2 are the ones that, like, I may not get the whole series, but these are cool. Lieutenant getting promoted to Lieutenant Commander Worf from Star Trek Generations in his sailor uniform. This was an awesome scene, and I love that figures of this are coming out. 4 sets of hands, a completely interchangeable torso with his formal uniform jacket on, which is awesome. He has his uniform hat, which he also has, he comes with the rope to suspend the hat from when he was jumping on the plank trying to grab it. There's no photos of it, and it doesn't say it in the description, but I'm very much hoping, I mean, it has to, that the hat will fit on him when he's in his full uniform. That would look awesome. He comes with a belt and sword scabbard and his saber. He comes with the promotion ceremony scroll, which Riker read it, so I'm really hoping Riker will be coming. Manacles from the promotion ceremony, because if you remember, they brought him up out of the brig and he was shackled. They called him the prisoner. The whole scene was awesome. And the plank. So this is a cool figure. This one is the one that's really tickling me. This, and boom, Geordi LaForge in his formal sailor uniform with 2 interchangeable heads, 4 sets of hands, a spyglass, his saber, and the holodeck arch, which once again, just like with Janeway and the captain's chair, this arch could be used for so much. Please come out with Moriarty. Please come out with Moriarty. We need the Nacelle. I know you're not watching, but we need the entire crew in that scene in their formal sailor uniforms, especially Picard and Riker. I want to be able to collect this line so bad, because now this brings us to number 2. Which just, oh my goodness, the Romulan commander from Star Trek TOS, The Balance of Power, one of the best TOS, the original series episodes ever. This was great. 4 sets of hands, a Romulan disruptor, and the Bird of Prey command console. He doesn't really need anything else. There's really nothing else you could supply him with. But this was a great episode. This is a great figure. This is a great choice. Second only to Captain James Tiberius Kirk. People were upset that he wasn't in the first wave. Here he is in the second wave. Not the preferred version that I would have had. I would have really liked to have seen the Wrath of Khan uniform, the Wrath of Khan version of Kirk for this. But this is second best, truthfully, because even though it's from Generations, it's that older, like, TOS movie uniform look. And that's what I like. He comes with 4 sets of hands. He comes with an axe. He comes with firewood. He comes with the chopping stump for when he was chopping wood. Because let's all just be honest. If you've seen the movie, if you've seen that scene, when Robert Downey Jr. was splitting wood in the MCU, I'm watching him going, he's never done this before in his life. He's never lifted an axe before in his life. But if you watched Shatner chopping wood in Generations, you're like, oh yeah, this guy does this every day. This guy goes out, this is how he heats his house in the wintertime. He just puts a log on the fire. He was swinging that axe like he knew what he was doing, and it was awesome. And he comes with a horse. It's non-articulated. They said that at SDCC, that it's basically just a big horse, a big piece of plastic. But it's a fantastic looking piece of plastic, and you can saddle Kirk on it. You can have him posed on it. Like, that's all you really want. Or you can just have the horse standing behind him while he's swinging the axe and chopping some wood. This is a great version of Kirk. Like I said, I would have preferred the Wrath of Khan version, but this is very cool. Thank you for still being here. I have a feeling we're about halfway through. As a matter of fact, I usually don't take the time to chapter the timeline down below, but I think for this one I'm going to do it. Right now we are going to start into Mattel. And Mattel had some Masters of the Universe releases that were not part of Walmart Collector Con. And specifically, we're going to be talking about Masterverse figures and the new 2000X figures that have gone up for pre-order. I was surprised that these came out already, because when I saw 2000X Samurai He-Man for Walmart Collector Con, I thought that was going to be the first taste of what we had. But that same day that Walmart Collector Con started and Samurai He-Man went up, we got the first of the 2000X collection. And the first one that we have... Oh, and also the description for these says 5.5 inches. But I thought I remember at SDCC where they were saying that it's in the 5.5 design, but like the cartoon collection figures, when you stand them straight up, they're actually closer to 6 inches. So I believe that's what they said, that even though it says 5.5, it's going to be a little bit closer to the 6-inch mark. So the first one we have to take a look at is, of course, He-Man. He has his power sword, and that's really it. There's no axe and there's no shield. That's kind of a bummer. I didn't watch 2000X much. I only saw a few episodes, but I thought he had his axe and sword as part of it. And I'm not just saying that because the Mondo one comes with an axe and sword. I thought this version of He-Man had his axe and had his sword. Kind of a bummer that all he has is the power sword. The other hero we have is Stratos, and he looks really cool. I always liked the design of Stratos for the 2000X. I liked how the wings came off of his wrists, his wrist bracers, and it was kind of like he just used them to help steer while the jetpack did all of the heavy lifting, because he has his jetpack, he has his wings coming off the wrists, and you can detach them for whenever, you know, he's on the ground and just chilling. For the enemies, we have one of my favorites. We have Triclops, and the only thing that Triclops comes with is a big sword. But honestly, what else would Triclops come with? Like I said, I only saw a few episodes of the 2000X series. I don't remember Triclops coming with much. The second villain we have, and the fourth and final in the line, is Beastman, and he is a big chunky piece of plastic. He has that hunched over look. He has the big fur piece, the collar around his neck and shoulders. He comes with his whip, and he has a perpetually snarling face. No additional face sculpts. We are at the age, we are at the line where this is the face, deal with it. This is a real toy. I dig that. These look good. The first thing that I noticed, though, and the one critique that I had in my head when I first looked at them, and truthfully when I looked at Samurai He-Man as well, is that the arms are very lanky. They look very long and very lanky on the figures. But then after I was critiquing that, I thought back to it, and that's kind of the art style for this series, wasn't it? That they were very elongated bodies, very elongated torsos, very long arms. Sort of like this like American anime look. So I think that is the art style, that is the look of how these are supposed to be. Each one of them is $19.99, $20 each, with the exception of Beastman. Beastman is $23.99, $24 because he's bigger. So the majority of these will be the same as Samurai He-Man from Walmart. So these four plus the Samurai He-Man are our first wave of 2000X figures. Estimated time of arrival, ETA, actually says October 2025. So I guess they're showing up towards the end of the month. Maybe not. Like, it says October 2025, but I would bet sooner that they'll start showing up in November. But hey, they're coming this year. They're probably already stateside. So, excuse me. So, order them, pre-order them now, get them very soon. They also have a very smooth and sort of like featureless look to them. It kind of reminds me of like DC Direct and the Batman the Animated Series figures. But then also like the regular cartoon collection figures are like this. So I don't know why it surprises me. It just, for some reason, on this style of figure, just stands out more to me than unlike the standard MOTU Masters of the Universe Classics or MOTU cartoon. So, I'm sorry, MOTU Origins or the MOTU cartoon collection. I don't know why it stands out so much to me on this line. But 2000X wasn't the only thing that we got reveals for. We also have 3 new Masterverse figures in New Eternia, and they are really diving all in on this New Eternia thing. I think that has become sort of like their bread and butter. That, the Vintage Collection is going to be a Walmart exclusive, and I think that's just going to be it. Masterverse New Eternia, Masterverse Vintage Collection. I don't think there's too much of anything else going on right now. But we have a New Eternia Mantenna, who looks awesome. Actually 4 legs instead of 2 legs sculpted together. Removable eyes with eye sockets that will pop in. An eye blaster, like a blaster gun that has an eye attached to the front of it, which is just bizarre. He looks terrifying. Mantenna finally, like, I feel gets the treatment that he deserves. This figure looks awesome. I'm digging that. We also have a New Eternia Mosquitor, which there's at least one YouTuber who is losing their stuff right now when they saw this. Wings, interchangeable blood chest piece, interchangeable nose stinger pieces, that you have a standard stinger, you have a tendril, and you have a blade that you can pop and swap. And then the blaster that he comes with, his pretty much standard blaster that Mosquitor comes with, there's a socket on the front of the blaster that you can put the stinger, the blade, or the tendril on coming out the front, which that is very cool. Mosquitor, once again, much like Mantenna, I feel finally getting the treatment he deserves. And then the big one, New Eternia, Anti-Eternia He-Man. And this, I firmly believe, is based 100% on the, I think it was Dark Horse comic series of Masters of the Multiverse that came out years ago. I think it was 2020, maybe 2021, where New Eternia or Anti-Eternia He-Man was basically going from Eternia to Eternia, stealing the power swords and killing other He-Men. because not only, as far as accessories, does he come with a Castle Hellskull helmet, he comes with a Castle Hellskull shield, plus he comes with 3 power swords. The Hellskull power sword, which is the coolest, a new Eternia power sword, and a Masters of the Universe movie, 1987 movie power sword. And he can wield all 3 of them at once, because the Hellskull shield, it looks like, has places where you can sheathe 2 of the power swords, which I think he did in the comic, and then just carry his around and just whoop butt as, you know, willy-nilly. Now, in addition to that Hellskull helmet, you can pop that off, and it has a standard, like, dark red hairpiece for it. This guy looks cool, from the accessories to the harness, the power harness that he's wearing, the black coloring, the red highlights. Everything looks awesome. Currently sold out on Big Bad Toy Store, but Big Nerdy still has it. Nerdzoic has this up for pre-order as well. Once again, leave links to everything in the show notes below. All of them are $23.99. So a bit of a price hike. Mattel hiked their prices up just like Hasbro did, but I feel like Mattel's is a more reasonable price increase. So $23.99, no ETA, but I will leave links to everything. Big Bad Toy Store. Actually, you know what? No, I'm just going to leave links to Big Nerdy because he has all 3 of them. Okay, everyone, here we are. We're in the final stretch. We're going to talk about Hasbro, and strap in because, man, we have a lot to talk about with Hasbro. No way am I getting to everything to talk about with Hasbro in this episode, so I'm going to pick and choose from the different lines the things that interest me the most. Also, time of recording, the 1/12 scale Tron figures have not been released yet. We've seen pictures of them at Toy Ark. Here's a couple of them. Once again, thank you, Toy Ark, for sharing those photos. I will leave a link to Toy Ark in the show notes below. So we know there's at least 4 figures and a light cycle coming out for the 1/12 scale line. Nothing has been released yet. Maybe they're waiting until after Comic-Con. Maybe they're waiting until after the HasLab is over. Who knows? But time of recording, nothing for the Tron 6-inch line. So, starting off, we're going to take a look at Transformers. And the first one we have is the Transformers Studio Series, The Transformers, the movie, Voyager Class Thundercracker. I believe, from what I've heard, this is a new tooling, new sculpt for the Seekers. And if it is, it looks really cool. I really like this like vintage look to it, that I feel like this is how the Seekers should have always looked. The alt mode, the jet fighter, looks really good. I really like that look of the jet fighter. The figure stands at 6.5 inches tall, $42.99. Estimated time of arrival, ETA is March 2026. No doubt, the others, Thundercracker, Starscream, and then eventually the Coneheads, will be coming out with this body design as well. Maybe even like, what was it, Sunseeker, and some of the other lesser known Seekers might get this treatment as well, depending on how popular these are. The other one we're going to be talking about, which I find amusing because we just saw the 3.0 version of this, the Transformers Studio Series Energon Universe Optimus Prime with Megatron arm. This must be the newest thing for Transformers. It looks cool, but it looks too clean. Like, this should have been a battle-damaged version of Optimus, I feel. Maybe something like when Optimus came out for... I forget what the line was, but there was an Optimus that came out a couple of years ago that had like a cracked windshield. The reds were much darker. He had like scarring and like chipped paint on him, and he just looked like he had been through it. I feel like this one with Megatron's arm on him should have been in the same design. Crack those windshields, given him some battle damage. Of course, this is just a render. The actual piece may be different once it comes out. We'll have to wait and see. This one is cool because it transforms with the Megatron arm on, with that fusion cannon sticking straight up like a giant smokestack. I think that's pretty cool. The size of Optimus is 7¼ inches tall. He is $79.99, $80, ETA October 2026. Jumping over to Star Wars The Black Series, we have Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett, which this is the first time for a Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. What were the other Boba Fetts from? Like, I feel like there have been like a lot of Boba Fetts recently, and were they all from The Mandalorian? But this one from the book, I feel like this is kind of his best look. I really like the Empire Strikes Back version, but I think this is his best look. I think the blacks and the darker colors are more striking than the grays and some of the washed out battle damage. But of course, that's the whole point of Empire and Jedi, that like those are battle damage versions of Boba. This is after he cleans up the armor a little bit. $27.99, the new standard price for a 6-inch figure. ETA March of 2026. And then, of course, what would a Black Series release be without a Vader? And this is Vader from the Obi-Wan series. Love it or leave it. And he only comes with the broken helmet. There's no interchangeable head for a standard Vader helmet. You basically buy this so you can get the cracked helmet with a peek at the Hayden Christensen likeness underneath. And of course, he comes with his lightsaber. $27.99, ETA March of 2026. Now we jump into Marvel Legends. We're not going to be talking too much about a lot of the Marvel Legends because there was a lot of Marvel Legends that got released, and I feel like everybody's been talking about them. We're just going to talk about the ones that I like. Starting off with World War II Wolverine. This figure looks great. It's everything I wanted. Of course I'm going to get it, and of course I'm going to try and shoehorn him in somehow with my G.I. Joe Classified, because why wouldn't I? Because World War II Cap has been shoehorned into my G.I. Joe Classified. And speaking of World War II Cap, this figure has some reuse from that Captain America figure, the one that came with the motorcycle. But it's been re-engineered to be pinless. You can especially see that in the boots and the legs. I can't tell if the arms are the same as my Captain America from World War II, or whatever is underneath that rubber overlay, the torso that's underneath that rubber overlay. But there's definitely reuse here from the World War II cap, which I don't mind because that gives it a uniform look. The military uniform also. Always love a good Tommy gun. Always love a good Tommy gun. There's been some questioning about the wraps around his claws. That's canon. When he was fighting, those aren't his claws. Those are just blades that he strapped to his hand because his healing factor made him forget that he has bone claws because of comic books. That's all I'm going to say about that. The other one that we have coming up is Warbow, and I really hope we get more of the Crystar line. I have Crystar on pre-order. I'm waiting for Crystar to show up. Because especially now that I am collecting the Nacelle Sectars line, the Sectars and Crystar on the same shelf together, that's just going to look awesome. Those two could absolutely live in the same universe together, and that's how I'm going to pose them. And I really hope we get more from the Crystar line. $27.99, the new price point. Doesn't look like there's much more than what you see right here, but honestly, Warbow doesn't need much more. The other one I want to talk about is Phantom Rider. And I kind of have issues with this one. I shouldn't say issues, but I have critiques of this one. First of all, this will always be a Ghost Rider to me. Don't rename it and call it Phantom Rider. This is the original Ghost Rider as far as I'm concerned. He will always be the original Ghost Rider. But I'm on the fence about this one because as much as I love Ghost Rider, and there's a lot to like about this figure, they really missed some opportunities here. First of all, he needs a horse. Duh. You got to have a horse for him. And I know there's other horses out there that we could get that would fit this guy, but just, he should have come with a horse, just like the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider came with his flaming bike. Also, the cape should have been cloth goods instead of plastic, so that when you do get a horse, he'll be able to sit on it without the cape getting in the way or having to pop the cape off. It would just drape over the back of the horse. I have a feeling that a lot of people that get this, that when they get a horse, will be getting third-party cloth goods capes or finding a cape to swap out for him. But the biggest thing that I think they missed on this is this guy should be glow in the dark, because canonically in the comic, that was his gimmick. His suit, his uniform, whatever you want to call it, Carter Slade's uniform glowed in the dark, and that was like, it gave him this ghostly appearance, and that's why he was the Ghost Rider. And like, that's how he struck fear into those he was seeking vengeance upon. This should have been a glow-in-the-dark figure. That would have been awesome. I don't know why they didn't think of that. All three of these for Marvel Legends are, of course, $27.99, the new price point. All of them have an ETA of January 2026. Whew. Okay. Been talking a lot. Let's power through. We have a little bit more to go with. My beloved G.I. Joe Classified series. Let's just start out with Ghost Viper is sold out. That's the end. Right now, pre-orders are sold out. Sold out on Hasbro Pulse. Sold out on Walmart Collector Con. And I have a feeling it's going to stay that way until release, until it comes out, which isn't long, because I think they're supposed to be released on October 14th. There was a bar along the bottom of the listing for the Walmart Collector Con, 70% sold out, 80% sold out, sold out. So I'm hoping, since they were tracking, nobody's going to get theirs canceled, Walmart. We'll have to wait and see. I ordered 2. Now, most of the things revealed at New York Comic Con so far as G.I. Joe goes, we've talked about already. As a matter of fact, we talked about those render reveals last week. So we're not going to be going over those again. But one reveal that is new is the Cobra-La Royal Guard. This dude looks awesome. As I've said numerous times, in aesthetics and look, and just because they're monsters, I like Cobra-La as part of the G.I. Joe line. I hate it. I will be getting this, though, because I've gotten every other figure from Cobra-La so far, just because of how unique they are, and I do like monsters. I don't know if I would be army building this one and getting like 2, but I'm definitely going to be getting at least one of these. The thing that stuck out the most to me about this one is they said this is going to be a general release on Hasbro Pulse. I don't know if it's going to be a Pulse exclusive or if it will be available on like Big Bad, Entertainment Earth, places like that. But they did say a general release because they said they didn't want to hide an army builder behind a paywall. Well, that's great. That really is. But the problem with that is you've made the main figures for Cobra-La, including Pythona, which we're about to talk about soon, difficult to get. That there are people out there, probably viewers watching this episode, watching this show right now, that weren't able to get Nemesis Enforcer, that weren't able to get Once a Man Cobra Commander, that probably won't be able to get Globulus, might get Pythona. So the army builders, anybody can get. Now, there are going to be some people that are going to be like, if this is what I can get, this is what I can get. And I can appreciate that. I can 100% appreciate that. That if all I can get for Cobra-La right now is the Royal Guard, that's what I'm going to go for. More power to you. I'm glad you were able to get something. But that was kind of a slap in the face, I felt. And I feel like everything for Cobra-La should have been, because of how unique it is, because of how some people are going to want it, some people aren't going to want it, some people might want more than one. None of Cobra-La should have been convention exclusives. That's just my personal take. I know a lot of people were probably sitting there going, well, yeah. But to say they didn't want to put the army builder behind a paywall, which means there's probably not going to be a limit on how many people can get, that was a slap in the face. I do like this figure. I dig the interchangeable parts. I dig that you can make it an airborne figure with the wings and the different head sculpt. Even the unmasked heads, the blue heads back there, I like that. Because what would also be interesting about that is taking one of those blue heads and putting it on a standard Cobra Commander with the helmet off. Because before the spores got to him, in a flashback scene, we saw that Cobra Commander looked like any other citizen of Cobra-La with the blue-skinned, bald-headed face. So having those head sculpts with the Royal Guard, you could use that if the cartoon continuity is what you stick to or what you like. You could use one of those head sculpts on your Cobra Commander. So I think that's cool too. I just saying that though, like that really rubbed me the wrong way. We didn't want to put this behind a paywall so they can get the army builders, but meanwhile we're going to keep putting like the main characters behind like convention exclusives. That was lame. Another reveal that we had, a render reveal, and we all saw this coming. I just didn't think it was going to happen so soon, but this is going to be a 2026 release, so I guess so soon is... it depends on your perspective, is the Arctic Assault Hiss Tank. Like I said, we saw this coming when the Snowcat HasLab went up, because Cobra Commander in that video even said something about slapping white paint on the Hiss Tank. This is based off of the 25th anniversary line. The polarized canopy is cool. This is just a render. Obviously, this isn't a finished product, so I don't think the red canopy is going to be completely mirrored. It'll just be like red plastic over the canopy, so I think that's cool. This is 100% using the HasLab mold. It has the rear door, they said, will drop down so that you can put figures on the inside and have them file out, which I think is a nice touch. It will come with a pilot. They didn't reveal who the pilot was. They said that it's going to be cool. I guess they're waiting for Yojo June to reveal that. I don't think it's going to be the Ice Viper, because if they made the Ice Viper for this, that would completely take the Wolf off the table, and I don't think they want to do that. So I have a feeling there might be a new figure, a new pilot for the Arctic Hiss Tank. It has the Chin machine guns that the Hiss Tank came with that I think was a stretch goal for the HasLab. It has a missile launcher system on the rear turret that came off of the Stinger. It has 2 machine guns mounted on either side on those machine gun mounts. It's important to note that those machine guns, I don't think those are the ones that came with the HasLab Hiss Tank. Mine's actually packed up and put away right now because I know you can't see it, but I have my Rattler out next to my Tiger Air Eagle. It's on the other side just off camera. So my Hiss is packed up right now. I didn't get a chance to look at that. No release date, no pre-order date, no price. They did say there's more coming out. I'm guessing this is coming out mid, like probably second or third quarter of 2026 is when we'll be able to start ordering these. My guess on the price is $200. Given that the Vamp and the Oz Striker were both $100, there's a lot more plastic with this one, there's a lot more parts with this one, plus having a new pilot. I'm guessing $200, minimum $150, but I'm putting this between $150 and $200. Let me know if I'm crazy. Tell me what your thoughts are. But I don't think there's any way this is going to be a $100 vehicle like the Vamp and the Oz Striker were. I definitely think this is going to have a price hike to it, especially just with the way prices are going up on this stuff to begin with. I'll be interested to see when it goes up. Now, we also had some name-only reveals for New York Comic Con, which I kind of want to touch on because at least one of them I'm very excited about. But first, we're going to be getting a classified Crazy Legs. Wow, it's about time. All they're doing is repainting the HasLab Night Force Crazy Legs, which I still have to do an episode on and take a look at. We knew Crazy Legs was going to be coming out. I'm just surprised it's taking them this long. And why haven't we gotten Ripcord yet? Like, these seem like easy ones, like no-brainers. That we have the molds, we have the parts, we have the figures. They just need a repaint. So we'll be getting the red and white version of Crazy Legs. That's going to be coming out with one of the next waves. And then another one that they revealed, and this is the one that I'm excited about, is the female Crimson Guard. I love this, especially since they've been playing a large part in the comic series. They at least one of them played a large part in the Snake Hunter story arc before it left IDW. I'm really hoping, because the male Crimson Guard figures didn't come with an unmasked Fred head, I'm really hoping that the female Crimson Guard figures come with an unmasked Laura head. Doesn't need the eye patch, because that will just, you know, lock it into that particular Laura. But I do hope it comes with an unmasked head for it, because like the Crimson Guardsmen, like, it's just, I don't understand why they didn't have the unmasked head sculpts with them, because we've seen Crimson Guardsmen without their helmets on. Probably in the original series, we probably saw more Crimson Guardsmen without their helmets on than with their helmets on. As a matter of fact, it was a Crimson Guardsman, it was a Fred, that took over Cobra as Cobra Commander while Cobra Commander was MIA with Destro and Baroness was pulling the strings. Like, we need the unmasked Crimson Guardsman head. So that's all for G.I. Joe Classified. Now, the last thing we're going to be talking about, and I touched on this in the last video for Walmart Day 2 of the Collector Con, and that is Transformers Generation Armada Nemesis Prime, Star Wars The Black Series Mace Windu and Darth Sidious 2-pack, Star Wars The Vintage Collection Jedi Spirits 3-pack, Marvel Legends Super Skrull, and G.I. Joe Classified Pythona. These are all premium members only until November 3rd. And this is kind of what I was talking about putting things behind paywalls. I dig that they are doing something like this. I know the non-premium members are upset about this, and I completely understand that. But I think the problem was that they had less and less reason for people to pay for the premium membership, especially when their prices for figures and things are just the same, if not more, than buying them other places. That, like, the PulseCon or the Pulse exclusives are the only things a lot of people, I think, were ordering directly from Hasbro Pulse. That the premium membership and the free shipping, like, people don't order enough from Hasbro Pulse, I feel, to justify having a premium membership. Otherwise, there would be a lot more people that had premium memberships with Hasbro Pulse. So these figures and 2-packs and 3-packs are all Pulse Premium members only until November 3rd. We're going to be keeping an eye on this, because right now none of these are sold out. And I feel like if they could make it through the weekend, then they won't be sold out come November 3rd. I feel like everybody that wants one of these, that wants these particular figures, that has a premium membership, is going to buy them like in these first couple days, because these are in stock right now. You can buy them, they're going to get shipped to you. I think mine is going to be shipped, my Pythona is going to be shipped to me at the beginning of the week. Time you're watching this, tomorrow. I also feel like this is sort of a trial to see how this format is going to work, because it's kind of like what they did with Cold Slither, that they released Cold Slither in limited quantities for sale on Pulse on Hasbro Pulse. It sold out, then there was a waiting period, then they went up for pre-order, and this Cold Slither is in stock right now. I'm going to be very curious to see if these follow that same pattern. They're up for sale, convention exclusives. They'll sell what they have. If and when they sell out, will they go back up to pre-order? Will we be able to get more of these? We're going to have to wait and see. A side note that I forgot to mention, the Vintage Collection the Vintage Collection Jedi Spirits 3-pack, the Force Ghosts. I really appreciate, as somebody who doesn't collect the Vintage Collection, but I really appreciate that Anakin has swappable heads, that you can have the young Anakin or the old Anakin, depending on which version you prefer which ending to the movie you prefer. So I think that was a good compromise, providing both head sculpts for that. Right now, like I said, nothing is sold out. When I ordered Pythona, and I'm assuming it's the same for all of these, there's a limit of 2 per customer. 1 to keep boxed, 1 to open up. That seems fair to me. Like, I feel like all of the exclusives like this, whether they're premium member exclusives or not, it should be limited to 2. 1 to keep in a box, 1 to open, or 1 to open, 1 to snag for somebody else. A gift or something. I don't know. But we will be keeping an eye on these. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is one of the things that I'm like really curious about, to see if like this is how Hasbro Pulse is going to handle things like this moving forward. If they saw that the cold slither way of handling things like this was a success, and maybe that's how they're just going to handle convention exclusives moving forward, since we no longer have PulseCon and we no longer have the 1027 event. This was a long one, and I want to thank you all for sticking around. I want to thank you all for watching. And once again, I want to thank everybody that helped out and left likes on the past few videos to help get them out into the algorithm more. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate you. I'm not going to ramble much towards the end of this because I think we're all tired of hearing me talk, including myself. I just want to remind you, come back on Tuesday because we're going to be taking a look at these 3 pieces for Bricktober. Monsters galore. That one in the middle, I think, is the one, despite having Lilith, that one in the middle, I think, is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. It is Bricktober. The spooky season is upon us, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. Thank you, everyone, for making it to the end of the episode. If you stuck around this long, there must be something that you like, so if you could, please leave a like on the video. And while you're down there, you can leave a comment and talk about what we discussed today, or subscribe if you haven't already. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you would like to help the channel out in other ways, you can become a channel member through my Ko-fi page or YouTube channel membership. Links to all of that and more in the show notes below. For $1 a month, you get access to member Discord server, eventually members-only live streams, and members-exclusive videos. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.